All right, let's go ahead and get started with mail merge. So we're going to be doing Word 6-18A practice review assignment. You're going to need to download 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6 from your data file. So remember to go into Canvas to Files and 6.4, 5, and 6. So hit your download buttons there and download each of those items. We'll start by opening up 6-4. That's what they have us to do in the very first instruction, and here it is. So here is 6-4. You're going to see where it says insert date field. And notice I have the show hide fields, the codes button here. I would encourage you to turn that on. It's typically annoying, I know, but for this particular activity, it is helpful to have. So we've got that turned on. What a mail merge is, it's accessed through the Mailings tab. And a mail merge allows you to create some sort of document. Letters are where each person's is going to be on a different page. They don't have to actually be letters. It could be flyers or something like that. Email messages, envelopes, if you were going to print a bunch of envelopes, labels, which would be where you have multiple records on one page, or a directory, which is also kind of like all on one page, just like on a new line though, instead of like in a box, like in labels. So the first thing they have us to do, though, before we get into mailings, is to replace this insert date field. Now, you don't want to get rid of that paragraph marker, and it really tries to grab a hold of that if I get over too far. It's like I just can't quite get there. Anyway, so I'm just going to hit backspace and then hit the delete key. But there we go. They have us to insert a date field. We're not actually doing that through mailings. We're doing that through the insert menu and date and time. And you're going to choose the proper format for letters, which is month, date, comma, and the year. So you're going to put that one in there. It's going to put the date in there for us. And then we are going to begin the mail merge. So we start that off by, actually, we should already have named this document. So let me go ahead and save as. So let's save as the document, and we're going to name it as Consultation Main Document. So it's in your instructions under instruction number 1. I just skipped over it. So MP_WD_6_ Consultation Main Document. This document, I'm going to name mine with a 2 because I already have one of those open. This document is going to be the main document for our mail merge. So it's like the main letter. It's going to be the letter that has all the codes and the letter that we're going to connect to the data source. So to complete a mail merge, you need a main document like this. You need a data source, which we're going to connect under this Mailings tab in a second. And once you've merged that data together, it creates a third thing, which is your merged letters or your merged document, your finished document. Okay, so we chose letters. Now we're going to go to select recipients and we're going to click type a new list. If we already had like a database created, we would go to use existing list and we'd go grab it. Okay, but since we don't, we're going to create a new list. And you can pull the edge out of this so you can see all the fields. It automatically creates all of these fields automatically every time you set one of these up, which is okay. It's also kind of annoying because it has a bunch of fields we don't need. So we're going to go to Customize Columns. And in our example, they only want us to have first name, last name, address, 1, 2, city, state, zip. So we need to get rid of the title and the company. And then after zip, they have us to include email address, but otherwise it looks like the rest of these we don't need. So we're going to delete country and region, work phone, home phone, and then we're left with email address. So it says after zip code and then email address, we're going to add some fields. So we're going to have one just called phone. We're going to have one just called consultation type, and we're going to add one called favorite service. And so that's the ones that we're going to have. If you misspell one, you just click on it and you can rename it so you can change the names of these. We hit OK. It's going to update these columns. And then now we are ready to enter in our information. If you go back to your book at this point, you're going to have to pull up the figure in order to get to everything. Well, you can actually see it all. It's just massage and facial are cut off a little bit here. You can copy and paste. I usually don't because I type pretty fast. It's a little easier to copy and paste if you hit the enlarge table button from over here, but you can copy and then go into your document and paste. But this is one of those things that honestly is a lot easier. Control V is paste, Control C is copy. Is a lot easier if you kind of put one on one side of your screen and one on the other side of your screen to do. Okay, so just type all that in, being very careful to make sure that you don't have extra spaces. So like after this A, don't put an extra space, or after the state, don't accidentally space. Especially if you're copying and pasting, don't copy and paste a space. Okay, I'm going to pause this and then come back and mine will be finished. So that's where we will be here in just a moment. Okay, I have all of mine in here, but I had to save mine and come back into it. So it may look a little different. When you hit OK on yours, mine's going to ask me if I want to update. You should see something like this. And if not, I'm going to get you to where I'm at. You're going to hit OK until it makes you save it. Okay, so it's going to have you to save that data source. Now, once you've saved that data source, it should light up these extra buttons. But if it doesn't, you're going to go to Select Recipients and use an existing list, and you're going to connect to that data source. So it just, if for some reason it didn't do it, I named mine Finished, you can name it whatever. But I would click Open, and then these should all light up. And if we click Edit Recipient List, which I'm going to have you do now, that's going to bring you to the screen like mine. So this is just a way to look at the data that's connected. If you need to further edit the data, you click here and then edit. So if you had an error in one of those, you cannot do it from that screen. You have to come into here to do it. Or if you needed to add additional entries, you would add them from here in the Edit Data Source. Okay? So just understand that's kind of a big deal. You've got to make sure that your data is connected properly. So I'm going to hit OK, and now we have all these little buttons lit up. If you're following along on your instructions, number 6 actually told you to save the data source as a specific thing. And then we are going to edit that data source. So I'm going to hit Edit Recipient List. I'm going to click on my data source, and yours will be called the other thing, or it really doesn't matter for this example. We're going to click Edit, and we want to replace Marcus with our name. We can't do all of that real easily here. You have to actually backspace. I don't know why they do that way, but anyway, so instead of Marcus, it's now going to be you. And then we'll hit OK and update it, yes. And then it tells us to sort in ascending order by zip code and then by last name. So we're going to do a double sort. Now, if we were just sorting by zip code, we could literally come up here and just hit this button and they'd be sorted. But if 2 people have the same zip code, like these 2 people do, we want to have them alphabetically correct, Cutler before Murillo. Okay, so to do a double sort, we can't just use the button. We have to come up here. So we click Sort. We say first sort by zip code. Then once you get all the zip codes together, sort by last name. Okay, and that's correct. We're going to hit OK. Notice now Callista or Cutler is before Murillo, so we've got everything there. There's also a filter button, or like if we only wanted a certain state, we'd come in here and say just California or whatever. You can use the filter button, or you can use this filter button here and say this equals that. Okay, but we've got everything in here they want. We're going to hit OK. And again, all these should be lit up because now we have data connected. Next, replace the placeholder text insert inside address. So we're going to replace this. Again, I'm highlighting, pressing delete, and pressing delete one more time to get rid of that extra little marker. There are 2 ways to insert these. This particular time, it just says with an address consisting of necessary separate merge fields. So there is a way to insert what's called an address block. That's this button right here. They're not having us insert it this way, but if we did, it would come up like this. And it would put one big box here that says address block. And if I hit preview, you'd see it puts all of those in there. Okay, but that's not how they want us to do this one. They want us to actually insert these all. Now I just got rid of my space, so let me hit enter. So we're going to insert these separately as separate merge fields. And this is where, you know, usually you need to see like what a letter looks like, because students are not really great about knowing what an address looks like, but I'll tell you. All right, so it's first name and then a space bar and then last name. We're just inserting the merge fields, and then hit enter. And then address 1 and enter, address 2, enter, city, comma, space, state, space, zip code. Okay, that's the proper format for those. If it tells you separate merge fields, you have to put all these in separately. If it did not say that, we would be able to just use the address block, or if it said insert an address block, then we would do that too. It says to adjust the spacing. So these are spaced apart and they should not be. So we're just going to highlight all of those, except for the very bottom one, because we need a gap between those. And we're just going to remove the spacing. So go back to your Home tab and remove spacing after paragraphs. See how nice that is? Now our whole address block is together as one. And I've noticed when I use the address block button, it doesn't space them right either. So that's kind of really annoying. All right, dear, insert first name. So we're going to get rid of that placeholder. Don't get rid of the colon. There's a colon in there. So again, I'm going to not go all the way to the end because I don't want to mess up. But you do need a space, dear space, and then it says insert first name. We're going to use the first name merge field. So back under mailings and insert merge field first name. Okay, again, I'm going to hit preview real quick, just make sure it looks right. Okay, that looks right, and turn it back off. Okay, now it says in the body of the letter, replace the placeholder text. We're on number 11. Insert consultation type. So here, again, select all of that and get rid of those brackets, but we still need space bars around it. And then we're going to put the consultation type merge field in here. Again, go ahead and preview it. Just make sure you have space bars. Should be a dot before and after nutrition. Okay, good. And then it says number 12, at the end of the paragraph that begins, if you haven't sampled, so that's the end of this paragraph, create an if, then, else, mail merge rule that inserts one of two sentences. So this is kind of cool. This is a rule, which is right here. We can specify lots of different rules. Those rules are generally in the book, I think the only one they have you do is if, then, else. But basically we say if something is equal to something, put this sentence in. Otherwise, we could either leave it blank or we'd have a different sentence. In this case, it says if the favorite service, so favorite service is equal to massage, then you're going to type what it says on here. Keep in mind, our award-winning massage services are available at, oh my goodness, at a 20% discount on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, so we would insert that if favorite service is equal to massage. If it's not, we're not doing anything else. But then, I hit OK. It says to do another one if the favorite service is equal to facial. Then in that case, don't forget that, oops, wrong thing here, wrong box. Don't forget that your first facial is free as long as you sign up for 3 facials within 2 months. And again, you can copy and paste those, but they don't need to be bold. They're bold in the book, but they should not be. Okay, we hit OK. And then notice here, this one, I don't know why this font is little. It shouldn't be. So we'll fix that here. But that showed up on here. Don't forget that your first facial is free as long. Okay, let's preview. Okay, don't forget the first facial. Keep in mind our award-winning massage. Okay, so it is giving us both of those. However, we're having a font issue. I'm going to go back to home here. Trebuchet MS11, and for whatever reason, this one's coming in as Calibri instead of Trebuchet. So I'm just going to highlight this section here and choose Trebuchet MS Body, which should be what the rest of them are. Don't know why it wasn't, but okay. All right, go back to mailing. So I'm going to turn that preview off. So something that I didn't know what to do, there's not like a way to edit those fields. So the first time I did one of the SAM projects, I messed up and I couldn't figure out how to edit it. So Alt and F9, okay, Alt and F9 puts in all these weird merge field code things. And notice here it says, if favorite service is massage, put this one in. So if you did like make a typo, you'd have to turn that on. Again, that was Alt and the function 9 button at the very top of your keyboard. I'm going to turn it off, but that's where those are hidden. Okay, so those are hidden unless we hit that Alt F9 and then we can see them. So sometimes parts of them show up and sometimes they don't. So anyway, okay, it says adjust the formatting and spacing of the placeholder text inserted by the mail merge rule as necessary. And we did, we made sure the font matched. You could have also used the format painter under the home tab. So I could have just clicked like in this paragraph anywhere and hit format painter and then highlighted, you know, that back half of this sentence just to make sure that it painted the format to match. All right, it says save your changes to the main document and preview the merged document. So we're going to hit the save button here. And then under mailings, we're going to hit preview like I had mentioned, and we can look at the different ones. So the one to yourself should be about a facial. The one to Ruby should be about a massage. Callista's a massage. And Lupita is a facial. So that's all of those. All right, let's turn the preview off. And again, if you noticed any problems when you have that preview on, like you're missing a space bar somewhere, you can fix it right here. Like if there was an error right here, even though I've got preview on, I can fix it here, and it would fix it on all of the letters because we haven't officially merged it yet. We're just previewing it. Okay. All right, now it says, I'm going to save that one more time. Now it says merge to a new document and save that merged document. So right here is finish. When it says merge to a new document, it's this top button, Edit Individual Documents. Okay, so I'm going to hit Edit Individual Documents. And then we just open it up, we hit OK, and it merges them. And now what we should see is that we have 4 letters. And there they are. You can turn off that thingamabobber if you don't want to look at it anymore. But that's what they should look like. Something like that. Oh, looks like I have a mistake. I don't have a space bar here. Okay, so if you do mess up, what you're going to do is basically don't save this. Don't save the letters that you merged together. Hit X. Don't save them. Come back in here and fix your mistake. So I'm missing a space bar here. I'm going to put that space bar in. And now, oh, save again. And now I'm going to finish and merge. Oh, don't print. Finish and merge again. It's going to say letters 3 this time because this is the 3rd time I've done this. But now it looks like it's in there right. Okay. Now we can save this one. So it tells us to save as NP, Word 6 folder, NP _ WD _ 6 _ consultation merged letters. So this is our finished merged document. Okay. And then they say to close this file. So we're going to close these merged letters. All right. Now they're going to have us to filter the data source to display only records for clients who wanted a nutrition consultation. And we're going to merge it again. So we're filtering that data. We're going to go back up to edit the recipients. We only want the ones who wanted a nutrition consultation. So we'll choose just nutrition. So they're both there and hit OK. And then we are going to merge again. So finish and merge, edit individual documents. We hit OK. This time we should only have 2 letters. And then we save that again. So same process, NP _ WD _ 6 _ consultation, merged letters 2. And there we go. And then we're closing everything out that we have done so far on this one. Do be sure to save your document. All right. So at this point, we are at number 17. So we're going to create a brand new blank document and create a set of mailing labels. So that's what's going to happen next. It gives us some names. I'm going to go ahead and copy this so I have it. All right, so we're going to co-create a brand new document. File, new document. And I'm going to close that other one that's open back here. Okay. All right, so I'm on my new document, and the first instruction tells us to create a set of mailing labels, and we are going to be merging these mailing labels. So we need to go to Mailings and click Start Mail Merge and choose Labels. Okay, so it's opened a new document, and it's going to have us to choose our label options. It says Avery U.S. letter. That's the most common, Avery U.S. letter. And then 5162 address labels, and they're in number order here, starting with the first number. So if there was like 51,620, it would still be right here. All right, 5162, we hit OK. You should see this. If for some reason you don't see these little grid lines, it's under the Table Tools Layout, View Grid Lines. Every now and then it happens and I don't have grid lines and it's super annoying. Okay, so we're in here. Now we're going to go ahead and save this document. And I went ahead and copied and pasted that name in here. So Spa Labels Main Document. This is going to be our main document with the labels on there. And then we are going to connect that data file that we created earlier. So if you named it as it told you to, you're going to go to Use an Existing List. If you named it as it told you to, yours is going to be called Consultation Data. Mine's called Finished. Either way, whatever you called it, you're going to hit Open. And this is going to happen on labels because it just does. You can see I am getting all my merged fields, consultation, type, favorite service. Those are all in there, so I can see that it is connected. That is all lit up. Okay. The next thing they have you to do is to insert an address block merge field. So we're going to click in here, and this time instead of putting those individual fields in one at a time, we're going to hit that address block. And then it gives us choices. So it tells us to choose the Joshua Randall Jr. format. So that's this one. It's already on that one. And then this shows you a preview of what that's going to look like. So we're going to hit OK, and it puts an address block in here. Now if you preview, you're only going to have one, because the fancy thing about labels is you have to hit one more special button, and that is Update Labels. And if you don't hit that, it won't make every other label match. Okay? So I'm going to click Update Labels, and now you're going to see Next Record, Address Block. So basically it's like put the first person in, go to the next one, put their address block in. If you hit Preview now, you should see all four of them. And same thing, it doesn't tell you to do it, but like if you were to change fonts or colors or anything like that on here, like this, and then you go to make those changes, you would hit Update Labels. It's going to update all of them like that, right? So just remember that anything you want to change, you only change on the first one. Okay, so I backed up, so we're back where we were. Okay. That's basically that. We previewed the merge labels. They look good. We're going to merge to a new document. So I always save first. Merge to a new document. That's the top one. Hit OK. All four are there. All four are there. And we're going to save this one. File, Save As, back to your Word 6 folder. MP Word _6 _ merged spa labels. Okay. And then once again, it has us to close everything. There's a lot of closing everything. And when you do the SAM projects for this chapter, it gets even more confusing because they have you copy and paste these merged things onto your main document. So it makes it really hard to fix. All right, so we're going to save and get out of there. All right, now we are ready for number 21. Open the document MPWD 6-5. So we'll go in here and get 6-5. Open that right up. And this is a table that already has information in it. So we are going to save it as, and then it gives us a name again, MP Word, the same format it's been using for all of these, Word 6, supplier data. So we're actually going to be using a Word document this time as our supplier data. It also says to change Harvey Siska to be you. So you're going to put your name in there instead of old Harv. And then you're just going to close this out. So save it and close it. File close. Okay, now we're going to open a new blank document. File new, blank document. And we're in here. And we're going to save it as, so it's just like a million files on this one, NP_WD_6. I've got that memorized now. Supplier directory. Now a directory, unlike labels where everything's in its own box, a directory, everything's going to be on the same page but not in its own box. Okay, so we've got that in there. We're going to create, go back to your mail merge. We're going to create a directory. And for the data source, we're going to go use existing, and we're going to use that one. It always goes to this data sources, by the way. You always have to go back over here. So here's that supplier directory. Oh, look, I spelled mine wrong. Uh-oh. Let's see if we can rename that real quick before we use it. Whoops. Rename. P. It says it's open, so it won't let me. Actually, it shouldn't. Oh, well, that's the one I'm doing right now. Okay, well, never mind. We'll just let it go. Okay, use an existing list. This is the one called supplier data. Supplier data. That one's spelled right. Okay, so now it lights these up. Contact, company, and email. That's the correct 3 merge fields, so we're good there. And next, we're going to be setting some tabs. So you need your ruler bar visible. If it's not, go to View and Ruler. Give it a check mark so you can see what's happening here. Tabs are something that you all know. When you press the tab button, it goes over. The default tabs are a 1/2 inch. So if you don't set any tabs, it tabs over a 1/2 inch when you press the tab key. What they're going to have us to do is to set some fancy things here. We're going to set our right tab at 4 inches. So at the 4-inch marker on here, I'm going to click. See on there, it put a little L down, and then I'm going to double click that little L. So what I just did is I put a tab stop in at 4. Now it told us to make a right tab. So instead of a left tab, I'm going to make a right tab, which when we hit OK, it's going to flip this L the other direction. And then for leader is when you press tab, this leads up to the tab. So dots are the most common leaders. So I have a dot leader. I'm going to hit set so that sets it in there. And I'm going to hit OK. Now see how that is backwards? If I press tab right now, it's going to have dots that lead right up to that tab. Okay? So what they're going to have us to do in the instructions, it says set your merge field so the directory shows a contact followed by a comma. So let me go back to my mailings, insert merge field, contact, comma, okay, followed by the company name, and of course we're going to space bar first, company name. And then on the right side of the page, so we'll hit tab and it'll have the dot leaders, it's going to insert that email, okay. Now it's going to have us to merge to a new document, so we'll save this real quick, finish and merge. Now here's the funny thing. This is going to be wrong, okay? So let me just warn you ahead of time. When you create a directory, you have to tell it where this ends, or they're just going to go right up against each other. So watch. See that? That's a hot mess, right? And the reason that's a hot mess is, let me close it and not save it, I didn't hit enter. You've got to hit enter. So you got to have that enter in there, or the next one won't go on the next line. Okay. Let's do this again. Finish and merge, edit individual documents. Let's hit OK. There we go. But unfortunately, the way they have this set in here, ours don't fit. And that's kind of funny, especially since it specifically made us set the right tab at 4 inches with a dot leader. I tell you what, I have found more mistakes in this book than anything. So let me just show you how you can move that. Even though clearly that wasn't what we were supposed to do, but that's okay. I'm going to highlight all of these, and we're going to pick up and scoot this over. Just pick it up and drag it. Let's drag it out here to say 5 or whatever. There we go. That's fine. So, yeah, another mistake. This is always fun getting a new book and finding all the mistakes. I'm going to type tab way off over here. All right. So anyway, but we've got that all on there now, so we've at least accomplished something. After we merge to a new document, it says at the top of the merged document, insert a heading. So we're going to click in front of the first letter of your name. You're going to hit enter. And at the top here, you're going to type vendor contacts. And we're going to make it a heading 1. We're just going to click up here and make it a heading 1. Okay, then they have us to save this document. So that's ugly. They didn't have us center it or anything like that, but it's okay. So here we go, MP_WD_6 _ merged suppliers. It's just so many things they want to show us how to do in this chapter. Okay, so that's that one. Yet one more. And that's instruction number 24. So we're going to close all these things out yet again. Be sure they're all saved. We're going to open up Word 6.6, that document, and we're going to be using that data as well. So here we go, Word 6.6. Let's open that puppy up. Enable editing. And the last thing that they do in this chapter is they talk about how we convert text to tables. So they're going to have us to save this. So first we'll save it. File, save as, yet again, more saving. MP_WD_6 _ client data. Okay, there we go. And we're going to convert the data in the document to a table with 8 columns. So what you do is you highlight all of this. You go up to the insert table. So again, insert table, and at the bottom it says convert text to table. Now, depending on how your data is set up, there's some homework you have to do first. So I'm going to show you what happens. This is going to be messed up, okay, but let's see what happens. They say number of columns. The instructions tell us to do 8. But we have to decide how to separate these columns. And if we separate them at, say, commas right now, it's not going to work. Matter of fact, it gets mad and switched it to 5 because there's only places for 5 columns. If I hit OK, see, this is all kinds of messed up. All right. So we have to do a little homework on this one before we can turn it into a proper table. Okay, what we're going to do this time is we're going to insert commas to separate everything. So first name, last name, address, this is address 2, and then city, state, zip, and the other. So it's first name, comma, last name, address, address 2, city, comma, state, comma, zip code, comma, and then the other thing. Okay, so Paula, comma. Now she doesn't have an address 2, so you ready for this? We have to put a comma and then another comma because we got to have like the empty comma in there where there's nothing. Well, I guess we can just put the 1. But we have to have an extra comma in there because it needs to know, we put a space bar after it. It needs to know that there's nothing in that one. Okay, and then we put in this one here and after here. I don't know why I have one over here. That doesn't go. Okay, and then same situation here. First name, comma, last name, address. We don't have a second part there. All right, there. Let's see if that works a little bit better. Let's select that insert table, convert text to table. If we go to commas, now it says 8. So it does recognize that we have 8 blocks of data. There's that address 2 on that one, and there we go. Now we actually do have this in a proper table. The last thing they're going to have us to do is to insert a header row. So we're going to insert a row above. That's going to be a header row. So we'll put our headings, which are first name, last name, address 1, address, actually it's address line 1, address line 2. You can tell this has gotten to be a really long lesson. City, state, zip code, and consultation type. And then we replace the name here. And that's basically that. So, yeah. Welcome to the world of Word and text and tables and tabs and merging and all of that good stuff. You'll save this document and then it'll be time for massive screen checks. Let me know if you have any questions.